Hi, college English students. This is video number 2, and it gives you presentation hints about your senior project presentation. I hope this does you some good and answers some of your questions. Of course, I'm still available Monday through Friday, 1 through 2, in the usual place, which is, of course, Google Meet. Okay, so you can see that there's wonderful artwork on the bottom here. You notice I did a self-portrait, which is the middle picture, and I am waving to all of you to say hello. One thing I want you to remember about video clips, and the most important thing, is that a video clip should be used when saying the words won't give the true picture to the audience. What does that mean? It means that if you can say it, don't show it on a video. If someone is saying it on the video, you have to ask yourself, why don't you just say it yourself? So you really should be selective about your video clips. A good example of someone who was selective was Mike, who gave his project on stem cell research. What he did was he showed a video clip of this gun I had never seen before that actually shoots stem cells at areas of skin that are scarred or somehow deformed. And what it does is when you shoot the stem cells, within a certain time, it actually turns to what looks like regular skin and there's no mark. Not showing this would have cheated me out of the whole experience of knowing exactly how it's done. Mike chose wisely. It wasn't a particularly long clip, but it was a fantastic clip, and that's the kind of clip that I would think you will need. Each of your slides should have a link to a video if you're using one. Don't start looking for the video, queue it up, and the way you can have it ready is to have an internet link right on the slide. Everyone so far has done that, and it's worked really well. Another tip, or a bunch of tips about video clips, first of all, don't include too many of them. And remember, it's better to have 2 shorter clips of 1 and maybe 2 minutes than to have 1 clip that's long, that's 3 minutes or even 2.5 minutes. I'd rather see short clips. Obviously, you're not breaking up necessarily the same clip, but the point is, it really is better to have short clips. There's no reason to have long clips. It's probable that someone doing a senior project on movies or on television is going to have more clips. They need more clips. If they're showing a scene that they're talking about, I don't see any way that a description of the scene will be the same as seeing the scene. Now we're going to talk about something that you might criticize me about, and that is speaking during a presentation. My voice is very, very cloudy and rough, and I'm sorry. Anyway, since you are most likely using the internal mic on your phone or your computer, you're going to use what I call mic manners or microphone manners. It's really not manners per se, but it says, or what you should know is that you can't be too close and you can't be too far. You don't want to go back and forth and lean back when you've been leaning forward, because that's really going to be hard for me to to listen to. So instead, make sure that you're in the right position. I could tell you if you're in the wrong position, but don't keep changing your position. Some of this is really self-evident. You can see that the guy on the left is very scared about speaking, whereas the guy on the right has taken it well. Unfortunately, his face is not what it should be. Anyway, you should speak clearly. That's obvious. You should speak slowly. Haven't had a problem with that so far. Now, you should speak with modulation of tone and volume. I just spoke with modulation of tone and volume. So what you're doing is, obviously, you're varying your voice so it doesn't get boring. And this is another one. It's a little harder to do online, but try to give me the impression that you're actually excited about presenting this material. I must tell you, I learned from all these projects. Whether you're excited or not, I am. So please either pretend you are, or I hopefully will see that you were really into the subject. Okay, the application, of course, is always a big question, and where to put it. Well, I would think that the best place to put the application is towards the end, and most people even have it just before the bibliography. It just seems to me that if the application is evidence of all you've learned, it's really more logical to show what you've learned and then use that evidence, or show me that evidence of the fact that you used this material, learned this material, and are now presenting it in a different way than you presented it. In other words, you're going to write a letter to show that you understand what you learned about the subject. Label the application. This has been a problem in the past. Tell me when the application is there. I don't really want to ask you afterwards, and what was your application? It should be obvious, and one of the ways you can make it obvious is to obviously say it. If your application is a relatively short letter, because a lot of you are writing letters, make sure that you make a decision as to whether you're going to include it on a slide or slides, or you're going to say it. It really doesn't matter to me. If it's really long, I would probably say it, or say part of it. You're not responsible for reading the whole letter, but I should get an idea of what it's about. So if you're using a letter, you'll do that. But a lot of the other applications, there is going to be similarity in the kind of decision making you have to make. If you present on Google Meet rather than in class, it is not necessary to dress up. You do have to show yourself. I don't want a circle with your initial there. That's not really acceptable for this. I want to see a live person presenting, and so far it's been phenomenal. Some people have asked me, and this is maybe even the most often asked question, how many slides? What order should I put my slides in? What I would say is that I don't know necessarily any better than you do. Use your judgment. Make decisions about it. If you know that the person you're presenting to, or the people you're presenting to, don't know all that much about your subject, you've got to make it understandable. So ask yourself, as you put the slides together, is this going to help someone to learn about my subject? Is this something that flows enough so that my argument is not disjointed? As far as number of slides, you know that's really not a question that anyone can answer except for you, and you probably won't be able to answer it till you're finished, because one cannot tell in advance how many slides logically will be needed. You know how to end. Does anyone have any questions? But one thing I can tell you is that when you ask that question, does anyone have any questions? Don't worry. I do. I have questions. And it's not to stump you. It's really to find out more, because I'm interested in your topic and because I'm interested in learning. Everything is worth learning anyway. Now, these are really the kinds of hints that you should consider, but you might not. First of all, you're a graduating senior. No matter what, that's true. And because you've taken either college English or AP English, I expect to see wonderful writing on the slides. I don't expect to see mistakes. So what do you got to do? Proofread, proofread, proofread. Have someone else proofread with you. You don't want to present with all sorts of errors. And you should check your bibliography. I remind you again that I don't mind MLA, but you've got to be consistent. If your bibliography is in MLA, your citations within the project must also be MLA. And if your bibliography is APA, then also it must coexist, and it must be the same as the parenthetical citations. You really can't forget to, and you mustn't forget to, send me the bibliography. In class, I would ask you for a paper copy of it. But since that's impossible, make sure you get your bibliography to me. Sorry about that. Bibliography to me in email form as soon as you can. Usually the same day would be best. Okay. And you should make sure that your very last slide is the bibliography. Don't just end without the bibliography, even though it seems that no one would be able to read it, and that would be true. It's the way to end a scholarly presentation. Now, this is very important because some people do forget and get zeros on this. You have to give me a reflection within 4 days. I've given you some examples of what I mean by 4 days. 4 days does not include Saturday and Sunday. So if you were to present on a Thursday, your reflection wouldn't be till Tuesday. It must be typed, okay? And it should be at least 3 paragraphs. If you give me a 1-paragraph reflection, I will be forced to give you a 0. And I really think that's silly. So make sure that you do give me the reflection. If you have any further questions, and you already know this, you can email me, and I've been pretty good with answering emails. Or you can meet me at Google Meet during my office hour, which is 1 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. If I have a senior project then, and I'm really trying to avoid booking them during those days or during those times, I think that it would be a problem, but that's not going to happen if I can help it. So you can come to me anytime between 1 and 2 and talk to me about questions you have or problems you're having. That's not a problem for me to answer your questions, and I invite you there. Notice that the password for all my classes, both college English classes, AP English class, and the 2 freshman classes, is what's written on the screen. So please don't use, or at least on Google Meet, a different password. And most of all, and most importantly, this can be fun. If you've chosen the right topic, it will be fun. If you are excited about your topic when you present, it will be fun. It is hard to believe sometimes, but it will be worth it because you're becoming an expert in your area of knowledge that's represented in your senior project. So please really have fun. You could see that all these people, including the baby that's midair, is probably having fun. So enjoy yourself. Come on. And that is it. See you for another video soon.